Hello everyone, my name is Siti Nur Fatiha and today I will be presenting about the nervous system. So before we go on, this is the overview of my presentation today. So the first one, we will see on central nervous system, peripheral nervous system along with the supporting cells. And then I will be talking about the how does the nervous system work. The third one, we will be discussing about the disease related to nervous system. And the last one is technology in nervous system. Let's see about the anatomy of the nervous system, the CNS and PNS. So the nervous system is anatomically divided into the central nervous system or CNS and the peripheral nervous system or PNS. So the central nervous system, it consists of the brain and the spinal cord, which then the brain is responsible for processing sensory information, integrating responses, and controlling higher functions such as thinking, memory, and emotion. And then the spinal cord, it acts as a communication pathway between the brain and the rest of the body and also help to coordinate reflex actions. The peripheral nervous system, it includes all neural structures outside the CNS, such as cranial nerves, spinal nerves, and ganglia. So the main role of this PNS is to transmit sensory information from receptors to the CNS and also carry motor commands from the CNS to effectors like muscles and glands. So functionally, the PNS is divided into the somatic nervous system, which controls voluntary movements, and the autonomic nervous system, which regulates involuntary activities. Then, the autonomic nervous system is further divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. Now, we will be talking about the supporting cells. So, in addition to the neurons, the nervous system, it contains support cells known as the glial cells, which are essential for normal neural function. So, in the CNS, it has the astrocytes, which provide structural support and regulate the chemical environment, also help to maintain the blood-brain barrier. And then it has the oligodendrocytes, which form the myelin sheath around CNS axons that will increase the speed of nerve impulse conduction. And then it has the microglia that act as immune cells, which protecting the CNS by removing debris and pathogens. And the last one is the ependymal cells that line the ventricles of the brain and help to produce and circulate cerebrospinal fluid. So in the PNS, the main glial cells are Schwann cells, which has the same function as the oligodendrocytes in CNS, that it helps to form the myelin sheath around peripheral axons. And also in this PNS, the other glial cell is the satellite cells that help to support and regulate the environment of neuron cell bodies in ganglia. So now I'm going to talk about how does the nervous system work. So first thing first, everything will begin with stimulus detection in the peripheral nervous system. So sensory receptors will detect internal or external stimuli such as touch, temperature, or changes within the body. So these stimuli activate sensory or the afferent neurons. So next, it will be the action potential generation. So as we know that neurons have a resting membrane potential of approximately negative 70 millivolts. So when the stimulus reaches the threshold of around negative 55 millivolts, sodium ions will enter the neuron, causing depolarization and generating an action potential. So after that, the electrical signal is then transmitted to the central nervous system. After that, the electrical signals is then transmitted to the central nervous system. The action potential travels along the axon and in myelinated fibers. This then occurs through the saltatory conduction that allowing faster and more efficient signal transmission. So once the signal reaches the CNS, synaptic integration will occur. This is where the neurotransmitter will be released at the synapse, producing excitatory or inhibitory postsynaptic potentials. These signals are some spatially and temporally at the axon hillock. So following this, the CNS decision and processing will take place. All the interneurons integrate all incoming signals, and the balance between excitation and inhibition determines the final response. So finally, the response is carried out through motor output via the PNS. Then the efferent neurons will transmit signals to the effectors. So for the somatic system, acetylcholine will cause skeletal muscle contraction, while in the autonomic nervous system, acetylcholine or noradrenaline regulates organ function. Moving on to the nervous system disease, so here I will be focusing on stroke. So first of all, what is stroke? So a stroke occurs when the blood supply to part of the brain is disrupted, depriving brain cells of oxygen and nutrients. So there are three main types of stroke. So the first one is the ischemic stroke, the second one is the hemorrhagic stroke, and the third one is the transient ischemic attack, or TIA, or also known as the mini stroke. So the stroke risk factors can actually be divided into modifiable factors and non-modifiable factors. So for the modifiable factors, it includes the high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, smoking, physical inactivity, and excessive alcohol intake. While for the non-modifiable factors, including age, genetics, sex, and ethnicity. So what actually happened in these three types of stroke? So in the ischemic stroke, it's actually the blockage of a blood vessel cuts off oxygen supply, which leading to brain cell death and loss of functions such as movement, speech, or vision. While in the hemorrhagic stroke, the bleeding increases pressure in the brain and damages surrounding tissue. And in TIA, the blockage is temporary, but it signals a high risk of future stroke. Now is the last part of my presentation, which is the technology that used in the nervous system. So here I will be talking about the electroencephalogram, or known as the EEG. So it's actually a technology used to study the brain activity. And how does this technology work? It works by placing electrodes on the scalp to detect electrical signals produced by neurons when they fire. The signals are very weak, so they are amplified, and the computer will convert them into wave patterns known as the brain waves. Brain waves are detected because they represent different patterns of neuronal activity. So each type of brain waves, they reflects a specific brain state, allowing us to understand how the brain is functioning in real time and to detect any abnormality activity. So there are several types of brain waves, as you guys can see here. So the first one is the delta waves, which occur during the deep sleep. And then we have the theta waves that are associated with drowsiness and light sleep. The third one is the alpha waves that appear when a person is relaxed but then awake. After that, the beta waves that are linked to active thinking and focus. And the last one is the gamma wave that are associated with higher cognitive processing. So this EEG technology is used to detect seizures and epilepsy, monitor sleep disorders, study brain function and cognitive states, and also assess patients with coma, brain injury, or neurological disorders such as stroke. In conclusion, the nervous system functions as the body's main control and communication system through the coordination of the CNS and PNS. Disruption to this system, such as in stroke or transient ischemic attack, can result in significant neurological impairment, highlighting the importance of early detection and prevention. Therefore, with this technology like the EEG, it will enhance our understanding of brain activity and aid in neurological assessment. That's all from me. Thank you.